But I was saying, I am finally free, basically. Free from the mess, the mud, the family history, the trauma, all of it. And the process was as simple as sitting down and facing it all, digging through the past, finding out where the blocks were, where the roots of stuff were, and just digging it up and dealing with it. And what I'm noticing now is that a lot of us in, I don't just want to say the African American community, but a lot of the people I know and family members and friends and, you know, just growing up watching and studying and now being aware of the fact that a lot of us aren't progressing, that we feel stuck, that we aren't, you know, reaching goals or, you know, getting to the places that we are made to get to or are created to do, our calls and stuff like that. It's because there's all these undealt with issues and unsolved, uncovered, hidden things that are blocking us and keeping us stagnant. You know, whether that's getting help with counseling and therapy and all of that stuff. So I really honestly believe that there's a difference between people who are successful and people who aren't. And it's just not like money, like financial success. It's like successful in what they're called to do and healthy in their mind, like mentally healthy. So I really believe that the key is communication, talking about it, digging up the roots of issues and getting it squared away. Like, the moment I found a lot of the stuff, I was able to realize, like, a lot of it didn't even come from me, and that I was able to dismiss it because it wasn't mine in the first place, you know.
Can you be like specific on what you're talking about? Like, I know what you're talking about, but as far as like, how can someone like pinpoint
a lot? I said a lot of the reasons why we're not progressing and a lot getting to what we're supposed to do, our call and all that, is because we have blocks, we have issues that we haven't dealt with, family history, the roots, you know, that keep us stagnant from progressing. Simply that, you know, whatever that is. So many people still live in the past. So many people still are blaming people for things that happen when they have the choice now as an adult to change, you know. And a lot of us, we'll say, like I used to say, well, how? I don't know how to change. I don't know where to get help. I don't know. But it's simply communicating to those who can help you, or making the choice to intentionally sit down and figure yourself out and face your past, no matter how ugly it is. You know, we all have this box. I call it the black box. And we keep it in the corner of the room, and we lock away the key, and there's so many things in that box that we want to act like they're not there, and we don't want to pay attention to it. Yet that very box is the thing that if you just release all the stuff in there, you can really fly, you can really succeed. So I used to think it was outside of me, but it started with me. And it started with me figuring out me and figuring out why I'm dysfunctioning. Dysfunction is it's all just the symptoms of, you know, things that are deep rooted within you. And the choice is simply, do you want to change, or do you want help, or do you want to progress, or do you not? You know.
So basically, it's like putting stuff in an attic or a garage, and just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there,
affecting you,
and that you haven't dealt with it.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, you got spiders, you got rats, you got webs being formed, you got all this stuff going on.
A whole bunch of stuff, and you want to know why is not stuff working for me? Why can't I get to my dreams? Why can't I get to my goals? The stuff in the life that you say you want, you can't have it with all that's happening, with your character flaws, the flaws in your character that's going to keep you bound. You think $1 million is going to help solve your problems? It could solve your needs, your wants and your needs, but the things that keep you dysfunctioning, you know, if you don't get that stuff out the way, money can only make it worse. So think that's the thing I've realized this whole year. There's just this constant pattern of the symptoms of things being undealt with. It keeps you from progressing, and it keeps you stagnant. How much do you want to progress? It starts with dealing with you. Simple as that. I used to think it was this whole big thing. Nah.
So now, what could you give someone like practical? Is that like writing in a journal? Is it taking 5 minutes out of the day?
It's simply getting a notebook and dedicating that notebook to problem solving you. And pay attention to where you're dysfunctioning. Where are you impatient? Where did you not trust? Where are you lying? Where, if you have addictions, you know, where did they come from? You got to track back and reflect on your life. And when did I first start lying? When did I first start not trusting people? When was it hard? When was it first hard for me to take direction and listen and take correction and really like sit down, and so many memories will pop into your head, and you will be surprised at where they came from and the moments in life when it took root. And you know, you would never for once think that it was those moments that are affecting you now as an adult, you know, supposed to be free and flying, but you still got all this mess that you're dealing with. So you know, and once you identify those moments and the roots of when they first start happening, you know, I depend on the Word of God to really help me identify with who I am and the behavior that I'm supposed to have, you know, and scriptures will pop up for me and I'll use them. So where I'm doubting myself or I have fear, it's like God didn't give me that spirit of fear, but of power and a sound mind. So it's like depending on that word and knowing that that's the truth. No matter what I'm feeling, that's the truth. So once you start to see how many things get on that paper, it's gonna be like, wow, I've been carrying all of this and I didn't even know. Right. You know, I just need to. No. And it's just like something was off, but I didn't know what. But now that you can see it on the paper, there's now you got to take those dysfunctions and habits, because all it is bad habits, and replace them with a positive one, and start to reconstruct the programming of your mind. You know, all it was is just bad programming from life or whatever. You know, I guess, who are you before, like Will would always ask me, who are you before life beats you up? Before the trauma of life, before things happen to you, that original child, who is that person? You know.
But some people, that child's so far gone.
Yeah.
They can't even. Not they can't. It's hard to look back and try to find the child, but they're there.
It takes time. It took me for how long I've been in LA? Almost 6 years, and now I'm finally. I can put my head up above the water and breathe. It took me 5 years to figure it all out. So it's like, it's not an overnight process whatsoever. But it has to be done. And that's just why people run away from it. And they get the success and all the money, and then they crash. Or they jump off of buildings, or, you know, on drugs. Because they're trying to cope instead of just figuring out why am I dysfunctioning. So it's not an easy process, but it's worth it. Because this freedom is just the most amazing thing.
God can't heal you from your friend.
From your friend. So if you find it and dismiss it from your life, now he can help you.
You must destroy all enemies at all costs.
The sun is gone.
Enemies of your soul. It's gone. That's it. We're in the dark now.
Yeah, the sunset. Bye, y'all. Say bye, Mom.
Wait until I get into the light, you know.
Do they have to see your face?
A star must be born in the lights.
I guess. In the brake light of the next car in front of you.
A star must shine out of darkness.
And the sun set on us. Bye.